My wife stole our twins' entire college fund to chase her gym fling. But 2 days later my daughter exposed everything and turned the tables. I'm using a throwaway account because, I've been holding this in for a while but need to get it off my chest. Fair warning, it's a long one guys, but trust me, it's worth the read. So I'm Tim, 41, male, and I guess I should start from the beginning. I work in logistics, one of those massive shipping companies everyone uses but nobody thinks about. I started at the bottom, literally pushing boxes around the warehouse floor 15 years ago. Now, I'm a logistics manager, which sounds fancier than it is but pays decent enough. I'm not driving a BMW or anything, but we were comfortable. I was married to Kay, 39, female, for 16 years, and we have twins, Jake and Emma, both 17 now. When we first met, Kay was working at this little coffee shop near the warehouse. I'd stop in every morning and man, she was something else. Not like those Instagram model types, just a real down-to-earth girl who could make you laugh about anything. She loved simple stuff. We'd spend whole weekends just binge-watching shows or having BBQs with friends. That's what made me fall for her, We got married pretty young. I was 25, she was 23, and had the twins right after. Those first few years were rough, not gonna lie. I was still working the warehouse floor, pulling crazy overtime whenever I could get it. Kay had a part-time job at a salon, but with twins, daycare would have eaten up everything she made, so we decided she'd stay home with the kids. I busted my a-hole at work, like seriously, took every extra shift, volunteered for holiday coverage, learned every part of the operation I could. I started moving up, supervisor, then operations coordinator, then finally manager. It took years, but we finally got to a good place. We bought a decent 4-bedroom house in a neighborhood with good schools. Nothing fancy, but the kind of place where kids can ride their bikes around and you don't have to worry. Kay seemed happy, or at least I thought she was. She got to be a stay-at-home mom, which was what she said she wanted. She could take the kids to their activities, volunteer at their school, all that stuff. We weren't rich, but we had family vacations every summer, usually driving, but still. We could buy the kids what they needed and had a little left over for savings. But about 2 years ago, something changed. It started small. She joined this gym, which seemed fine at first, but then she started spending more and more time there. She lost like 30 pounds, not that she needed to. Got all these new workout clothes, started going to these ladies' nights with her new gym friends, coming home later and later. Our life suddenly wasn't exciting enough. Movie nights were boring, family dinners were routine. She started making these little comments about other people's lives, how her friend Jessica was always traveling, or how her gym buddy Marie was living her best life. God, I hate that phrase now. I tried talking to her about it, actually sat down one night after the kids were in bed, asked her what was wrong, if there was something missing. Her answer still pisses me off when I think about it. Nothing's wrong, Tim. I just want more from life than being stuck in this routine. We're so boring. When I brought up the kids, she just rolled her eyes, like literally rolled her eyes like a teenager. They're teenagers, Tim. They don't need me hovering over them anymore. I need to think about myself for once. Think about herself? Like she hadn't been doing that plenty already. I was working 50-hour weeks so she could have the life she wanted, and suddenly that wasn't good enough. I should have seen what was coming, but you know how it is when you're in it. You make excuses. Maybe she's going through something. Maybe it's a phase. Maybe if I work harder, save more, she'll be happy again. I started putting even more money into the kids' college funds, thinking maybe she was stressed about their future. Like a dumbass, I thought we could work through it. I tried suggesting we do more stuff together, maybe take some weekend trips, try new restaurants, but nothing was ever enough. She always had some excuse about why she couldn't. Gym classes, plans with friends, whatever. The twins noticed it too. Emma would ask why Mom never came to her soccer games anymore. Jake got real quiet whenever Kay was around, like he could sense something was off. But I kept telling them, and myself, that everything was fine. Man, I was an idiot. Well, the way I found out what was really going on is probably the most messed up part of this whole thing. It was a regular Tuesday night. I'm in my home office, aka the corner of the basement where I put a desk, doing some work stuff, and Jake comes down looking like he's about to throw up. Now, Jake's always been the quieter of the twins. Emma's the outgoing one, but this was different. He stood there for like a solid minute before he could even talk. "Dad, I think you need to see something," he said. He pulls out his phone, opens this dating app, didn't even know he had one, but that's a conversation for another time, and starts scrolling. And there she was, Kay. My wife of 16 years, but not the Kay I knew. These were all these posed gym selfies I'd never seen, calling herself Cree Spirit and saying she was ready to explore life's adventures or some love like that. Looking at those dating app photos, I felt this rage I didn't even know I was capable of. Like, my hands were literally shaking holding Jake's phone. Here's the mother of my kids posting these thirsty gym selfies like some desperate teenager. Like, are you love kidding me? While I'm working 50-hour weeks to put money in our kids' college funds, she's out here acting like some budget Instagram model. I had to walk away from Jake for a minute, go to the garage, and just breathe because all I could think about was every time she said she was too tired to come to Emma's soccer games or when she missed Jake's science fair because she had a headache. She was probably taking these goddamn pictures or meeting up with that gym rat. 16 years of marriage, 2 kids, all those memories reduced to this pathetic midlife crisis playing out on a dating app. And my son had to see it. My kid had to sit there and show me proof his mom was trying to hook up with guys his age. You want to talk about love? Try watching your teenage son apologize to you because his mom couldn't keep her desperation off dating apps where his friends could see it. What made it worse is that Jake only found it because his friend Tyler was on there and recognized her. Imagine that for a second. Your friend swiping through a dating app and sees your mom. Poor kid was messed up about it for days before he got the courage to tell me. While all this is going down, Emma, bless her organized little heart, was helping me sort through some paperwork for tax season. She's always been good with numbers, wants to be an accountant someday. She notices these weird withdrawals from their college accounts. See, when the twins were born, I set up separate accounts for each of them, been putting money in every month since they were babies. Nothing huge, just whatever I could, a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there. By the time they were 17, each account had about $45,000 in it. Not enough for fancy private schools, but enough to give them a good start at state college. I thought they were safe since they were in their names, but turns out Kay still had access. Emma starts adding up all these withdrawals, almost $30,000 gone from each account over the last year. When she showed me the statements, I thought I was going to be sick. All these random ATM withdrawals, transfers to accounts I didn't recognize. I confronted Kay that night but did not bring up the dating app thing, figured maybe there was some explanation, right? Maybe she was investing it somewhere better. Yeah, I know, I'm an idiot. She didn't even try to deny it, just sat there with this look on her face like I was the one being unreasonable. I deserve to live a little, Tim. I gave up my youth for this family, those were her exact words. Like somehow that justified stealing $60,000 from her own kids' futures. I asked her what it was spent on. She started listing off stuff like it was totally normal, new clothes, spa days, weekend trips with her friends, some love life coaching program. Then she hits me with, the kids can take out loans like everyone else. I needed that money to find myself. Find herself, right? Because apparently finding yourself costs exactly the same as 2 years of state college tuition. The twins were right there in the kitchen when she said this. Emma started crying. Jake just walked out, didn't say a word, just went to his room and locked the door. Kay didn't even seem to care how much she was hurting them. I think that's what got me the most. Not the money, yeah, that was bad, but money can be replaced. It was how she could just sit there, looking at our kids, and basically tell them that her living a little was more important than their future. That night, after Kay went to bed, acting like nothing was wrong by the way, Emma came to my room. She had more to show me. Turns out she'd been doing some digging of her own on social media. And holy love, what she found. Remember that gym I mentioned Kay joined? Yeah, turns out that was ground zero for this whole mess. All that finding her self-love had a name, Zach. Freaking Zach. Even his name sounds like a tool. You know, the type, early 30s, personal trainer who probably peeks his biceps in the mirror when he thinks nobody's looking. Emma showed his Instagram. It's full of those cringe motivational quotes like rise and grind and no pain, no gain with pictures of him flexing in terrible lighting. Real deep thinker, this guy. The weird thing is, the dude was only 35, living in some crappy apartment complex, driving a leased Mustang he could barely afford. But he had the whole lifestyle guru thing going on social media. Called himself a transformation specialist, whatever the hell that means. Charged desperate housewives extra for private sessions that were probably just him counting reps while they did basic exercises. Emma, seriously, this kid could work for the CIA. Found pictures of them together going back almost a year, fancy restaurants, bars, weekend trips to the beach, all the places Kay was supposedly going with her girlfriends. Places I know for a fact we couldn't afford, especially not with her not working. Now I knew where the college money went. And this piece of work knew she was married, knew about the twins. There were literally comments on his posts, where Kay would write stuff like best trainer ever. And he'd reply with some love like anything for my favorite client. Yeah, real subtle, guys. I found out they'd been seeing each other for almost a year. While I'm working my a-hole off trying to keep our family comfortable, she's blowing our kids' college funds on hotel rooms and overpriced dinners with this gym rat who probably can't even spell personal development. And he had this whole routine down, would tell these women, yeah, found out Kay wasn't the only one, how they were settling in their lives, how they deserved more excitement. Real predatory stuff. Looking back, he'd find these women who were bored with their normal lives and fill their heads with all this garbage about living their best life, and how their husbands didn't understand their needs. Jake found some of their text messages. Don't ask me how, that kid's scary good with phones. This clown was telling Kay stuff like, you deserve someone who can match your energy, and a woman like you needs excitement, not routine. Meanwhile, he's living off our money, probably telling the same lines to 3 other women. But you want to know the most pathetic part? Kay actually believed him. Thought this guy who takes shirtless selfies in the gym bathroom was her soulmate or something. Started talking about how he gets her in a way I never did, how he's going places with his personal training business. I mean, I get it, marriage isn't always exciting. Sometimes it's paying bills and making sure the kids get to school on time, and fixing that weird noise the dryer's making. But that's real life. That's what being an adult is, not this fantasy world, where you run off with some trainer half your age who posts workout videos in tight tank tops. You know what really kills me though? I spent 16 years building a life with this woman. Held her hair back when she had morning sickness with the twins. Worked doubles at the warehouse when we could barely afford diapers. Drove that crappy Honda for 3 extra years so she could get the SUV she wanted for carpool. All those little moments where you think you're building something real together, and she threw it all away for some dude who probably Googles best Instagram captions and thinks protein shakes count as a personality. Like, how do you look at your family, at everything you've built, at your kids' whole future, and decide, nah, I'd rather have this guy who calls himself a fitness influencer and can't even afford his own apartment? Makes me wonder if any of it was real, you know, if she was always just waiting for something more exciting to come along. Maybe I was just the reliable placeholder, until she found someone who posted better gym selfies. The twins were absolutely gutted. Emma, especially. She'd always been really close to her mom, looked up to her. Now she was watching her mom throw everything away for this dude who probably couldn't even point to our town on a map. Jake just got quieter than usual, if that's even possible, started spending more time in his room on his computer. At the time, I thought he was just processing everything. You know what really gets me though? All those times Kay was too busy to come to Emma's soccer games or Jake's academic competitions, she was probably with him, missing our kids' moments for some discount David Beckham wannabe. I sat on this info for a few days trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to go down to that gym and introduce Zach's face to my fist, but I've got twins heading to college soon. Can't be catching assault charges. Had to be smarter about this. I called my buddy Dan, who's a lawyer. Not a fancy corporate lawyer or anything, just handles normal people stuff like divorces and wills. Told him everything. His first words, don't do anything stupid, let's do this right. And boy did we do it right. So, after talking with Dan, my lawyer buddy, I had a game plan. He told me to document everything before confronting them, so I spent a week just gathering evidence, bank statements, screenshots, everything the twins had found. Dan said the more proof we had, the better position we'd be in for the divorce. I waited until the kids were at school before confronting Kay. Didn't want them around for this mess. Took a day off work, sat at the kitchen table with all the evidence spread out in front of me. When she came downstairs in her workout gear, probably heading to see Zach, she almost walked right past me. Sit down, Kay, we need to talk. She got this annoyed look on her face, like I was interrupting her very important day. I'm going to be late for my session. Yeah, with Zach, right? Sit down. The look on her face when I said his name, wish I had a picture of it. She knew she was busted but tried playing it cool. Sat down across from me like this was just going to be some minor conversation. I started laying it all out, the dating profile, the bank statements, the pictures Emma found, the text messages Jake recovered. With each piece of evidence, she got more defensive. Then, you know what she did? Laughed. actually freaking laughed. Finally, she says, I was wondering when you'd figure it out. You're so slow sometimes, Tim. I froze. Like this was all some game, like she was somehow smarter than me because she managed to hide her affair for a year. That's when she started her whole speech about how boring our life was, how Zach understands her needs and makes her feel alive. He's going places with his business, she tells me, not like you, stuck in the same job for years. I just looked at her and said, the same job that paid for everything in your life? The same job that put food on our table and clothes on our kids' backs? She rolled her eyes, actually rolled her eyes, like some teenager. The kids are fine, Tim. They don't need all that money for college. Plenty of people take out loans. That's when I lost it. Not violently, I don't play that game, but I let her have it. They don't need the money. Our kids don't need the money you stole from them for what? So you could play sugar mama to some gym rat who's probably telling the same lines to 3 other women? She tried to interrupt, but I wasn't done. You know what Emma did last night? She was looking up student loan interest rates. Our 17-year-old daughter is trying to figure out how to pay for college because her mother decided finding herself was more important than her kid's future. Kay actually had the nerve to say, they're almost adults, they'll understand someday. Understand what? I asked her. Understand that their mother chose some discount Instagram model over their future? That the money I worked overtime for years to save went to hotel rooms with your trainer? Then she pulled out the classic. I gave up my youth for this family. I deserve to be happy. Your youth? You're 39, Kay, not dead. And nobody forced you to have kids at 22. That was your choice, just like stealing from them was your choice. She started gathering her stuff, acting all dignified. Well, I want a divorce. Zach and I are going to move in together. He says I cut her off. Let me guess, he says you deserve better, that he'll give you everything you want. Wonder what he'll say when he finds out the money's gone. That hit a nerve. She started sputtering about how Zach loves her for her, not the money. Yeah, right. I called Dan right after she left, got the divorce papers started that day. Then I made a few other calls because if Kay and Zach thought they were going to ride off into the sunset with my kids' college fund, they had another thing coming. First call was to Mark, a guy I know who manages another gym across town. Turns out, he used to work with Zach and had some interesting stories, like how Zach had been fired from 2 other gyms for inappropriate relationships with clients. Mark still knew some people at Zach's current gym. One anonymous email to the gym owner about trainers using the facilities for unauthorized private sessions, if you know what I mean, and charging clients off the books. Let's just say Zach's business took a hit. Jake, my quiet little computer genius, had been busy. Remember how he found those text messages? Well, he found a lot more. Turns out our boy Zach was running the same game with 3 other married women, all of them thinking they were special, all of them helping him with money for his business plans. The kid made a burner email account and sent evidence to all their husbands, screenshots, dates, everything. I told him later that was risky and he shouldn't do stuff like that, but privately? Proud dad moment. The fallout was beautiful. One of the husbands owned the supplement shop where Zach got his wholesale discount for reselling protein powders and pre-workouts. That little side hustle? Gone. Another husband was a member at the country club where Zach was trying to get some high-end clients. One phone call, no more access. Meanwhile, Kay is living in her fantasy world, thinking she and Zach are going to move in together and start their dream life. She even started telling people she was going to be his business partner in his new private training venture. That dream died real quick when she showed up at his place one night, using the key he gave her, telling her she was the only one, and found him with one of his other special clients. The meltdown was epic, like security had to be called to the apartment complex epic. One of his neighbors recorded the whole thing, Kay screaming about how he promised to leave his girlfriend, well, he had a steady girlfriend this whole time, about all the money she gave him, while this other woman is yelling about how he promised her he was single. The video made its rounds on our local Facebook groups. Zach kissed his reputation goodbye. And guess what? The girlfriend saw the video. Turns out she worked at the bank where Zach was trying to get a loan for his private training studio. She didn't take the news well. Suddenly, his loan application had some irregularities that needed to be reviewed. The twins handled it better than I expected. Emma put together a spreadsheet, she's scary organized, tracking all the money Kay took, including interest it would have earned. Jake, he set up alerts on all my accounts and credit cards. If Kay tried to access anything, we'd know instantly. They also told their friends what happened. You know how fast news spreads in high school. Within a week, everyone knew. All those gym moms Kay hung out with? Their kids went to school with the twins. Suddenly, nobody wanted to do ladies' night with the woman who stole her kids' college money to fund her affair with the trainer. Kay tried damage control, posting this long rant on Facebook about how nobody understands and how she was just trying to find happiness. Her gym friends ghosted her. Turns out, even in their circle, stealing from your kids crosses a line. The karma train wasn't done though. Remember that life coaching program she spent money on? Jake found their website. Seriously, this kid could work for the FBI. Sent them an email about how one of their clients was using their program to justify stealing from her children. They actually refunded some of the money to me, not her, by the end of the month. Kay's whole house of cards collapsed. Zach blocked her number after she kept showing up at his place. Her gym friends wanted nothing to do with her. Even her own sister, who initially took her side, changed her tune when she found out about the college funds. Remember my buddy Dan, the lawyer? Turns out, he's actually pretty damn good at his job. When we went to court, we were prepared, like 3-inch binder of evidence prepared. Bank statements, screenshots, everything documented and organized, thanks to Emma. The first hearing was almost funny. Kay shows up with this lawyer she found on a billboard, not even kidding, thinking she's going to get half of everything plus alimony. She didn't even bother to dress up for court, wore one of her gym outfits, looking like she was headed to a spin class after. Her lawyer starts going on about how Kay sacrificed her career for the family and deserves to maintain her lifestyle. Dan just sat there quietly until it was our turn. Then he pulled out the receipts, literally. First, he showed the judge the college account withdrawals, every single one with dates and times. Then he matched them up with hotel receipts and restaurant charges that Emma had found. The judge's face got darker with each page. But the best part? Kay's lawyer didn't even know about the college funds. You could see him whisper something to her, and she just shrugged it off like it was no big deal. Big mistake? Huge. The judge, this older lady who looked like everyone's stern grandmother, just stops everything and asks Kay directly, "Are you telling me you took money specifically saved for your children's education to fund an affair?" Kay tries to spin it, "I needed that money to rebuild my life. The kids can take loans." Judge cuts her off, so that's a yes? From that point on, everything went downhill for Kay. The judge was not happy about the college funds, called it a particularly egregious breach of parental duty. Had to look that one up later, but basically means Kay seriously screwed up. Here's what the judge ordered. Kay has to pay back every cent she took from the college funds, with interest. Any money she gets from the divorce settlement goes to paying that back first. She also got way less than she wanted in the split, Mia. The house? She tried to claim half its value. Judge said, nope, the kids need stability, and since I was the one who could actually pay the mortgage, I got to keep it. Kay got some of the equity, but guess where that money had to go first? Yep, right back to the college funds. Her lawyer tried arguing that she needed alimony to get back on her feet. Dan pulled out records showing she'd spent more on hotels and restaurants with Zach in the past year than she would have made working full-time at her old salon job. The judge basically told her to get back to work. The twins were relieved when it was over. They didn't have to testify, Dan made sure of that, but the judge did read letters they'd written about how finding out about the theft affected them. Emma wrote about how she'd been planning her college applications, thinking she had a secure future, only to find out her own mother had gutted her savings. Jake wrote about how he couldn't trust his mom anymore, after seeing how easily she could lie to all of them. Those letters hit hard. The judge referenced them specifically in her ruling, saying that Kay had irreparably damaged her relationship with her children for temporary gratification. Harsh, but true. After court, Kay tried to talk to the twins. Emma just walked away. Jake looked at her and said, "I hope he was worth it." First time I'd heard him say more than 2 words about the whole thing. Kay had to move into this tiny 1-bedroom apartment on the edge of town, got her old job back at the salon, but most of her old clients found new stylists when all this went public. She's been posting these sad Facebook updates about forgiveness, and everyone makes mistakes, but nobody's buying it. It's been a few years since that war. The twins graduated high school. Kay tried to show up at graduation, showed up in this new dress that probably cost a month's salary at the salon, acting like everything was fine. Emma saw her in the parking lot and just said, "No, you don't get to pretend today." Jake didn't say anything, just turned around and walked back inside. proud of them for standing their ground. The college funds situation is slowly getting fixed. Between Kay's garnished wages, the divorce settlement, and what I've been able to save up working some extra shifts, we're about halfway back to where we were. Emma got a partial scholarship to State University, told you she was smart, and Jake got into their computer science program. They're both doing this work-study thing to help with expenses. The house feels different without Kay, quieter maybe. The twins have really stepped up though. Emma's taken over a lot of the household organizing, made this crazy detailed chore chart. Jake's been helping me fix up stuff around the house. Kid's pretty handy when he's not being a teenage computer ninja. And recently, life's different now, better is different. Dating is actually a thing again, nothing serious, just coffee dates here and there. Met this kindergarten teacher named Sarah through a friend. She's got a kid of her own, so she gets all the complicated family stuff. We're taking it super slow. The twins actually like her, which is huge. Emma says she's age-appropriate. Thanks for that backhanded compliment, kiddo. Speaking of karma, Kay's life post-divorce is something else. That tiny apartment she was complaining about got evicted last month. Turns out, spending money on designer clothes instead of paying rent isn't a great financial strategy. She's living with her sister now, which I hear isn't going too well, especially since her sister found out she borrowed her credit card. Some people never learn. You know what's wild? My job's actually going better too. Got promoted to regional operations manager. Amazing what you can accomplish when you're not constantly stressed about your wife stealing money and sneaking around with the local gym rat. The twins are crushing it. Emma's taking all these advanced classes, and Jake's turned into this computer whiz. Like father, like kids, I guess. They got my work ethic, just way smarter than me. Had this moment last week that really hit me. Was cleaning out the garage and found Kay's old vision board from a couple years ago. You know, those things with magazine cutouts of the life you want. Hers was all luxury vacations and sports cars. Meanwhile, in reality, she's working double shifts at the salon to pay back the college funds. Sarah saw it and just said, "Wow, some people really don't understand what matters in life." That's when I knew she might be a keeper. Looking back, I've learned some things from this whole mess. Not trying to be some relationship guru, just a regular guy who's been through some love and came out the other side. First thing I realized, you can do everything right and still get screwed over. I worked hard, provided for my family, tried to save for our kids' future, didn't drink, didn't gamble, didn't chase other women. Didn't matter. Some people just aren't happy with normal life. They're always chasing something more exciting, even if it means burning down everything they have. The money stuff? Man, I was stupid there. Should have set up accounts that only I could control. Dan, my lawyer, tells me he sees this all the time. One partner draining accounts for an affair. Never thought it would happen, to me, but here we are. Lesson learned, protect your kids' future legally. Found out later that Kay had been following all these lifestyle influencers on Instagram, you know, the type posting about finding yourself and living authentically, while shilling diet tea and meditation apps. She got sucked into this whole alternate reality where everyone's life is supposed to be exciting all the time. But here's the thing, real life isn't exciting all the time. Sometimes it's just making lunch for your kids and paying the electric bill on time. And you know what? That's okay. The twins and I have game nights on Fridays now. Sarah joins sometimes. She's weirdly good at Monopoly. It's not Instagram worthy, but it's real. Kay's on some dating app for sophisticated singles these days, still posting those inspirational quotes about new beginnings. Zach moved to Florida, of course he did, and runs boot camps on the beach, still wearing those tank tops that are 2 sizes too small, probably still scamming lonely women. But that's not my problem anymore. The twins are heading to college in the fall. Emma's already planning how to decorate her dorm, color-coded spreadsheet included, and Jake's teaching himself some new programming language. They're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. And Kay, since I know you're probably reading this, hi Karen, I know you're showing it to her. Hope those designer bags and hotel rooms were worth it. The twins are doing great, by the way, no thanks to you. Edit, holy love, this blew up. Rip my inbox. And no, I won't share Sarah's contact info, stop asking. Edit 2, yes, all of this is real. Changed some details because, obviously, people involved might be reading this, and seriously, stop DMing me about Kay's dating profile. Have some self-respect, guys.